I think there needs to also, in this mapping effort, be a lot of community outreach. Like, obviously, I assume we have all taken speed tests. I take them anywhere I go on my phone. It gets me really excited, but a lot of people still don't know. And those are the areas that we need to get speed tests from. So I think community awareness building on, you know, what the issue is and how you can assist in this, like how you can take a speed test. And I know there are a lot of great collaboration efforts already with some tribes. I know there's some place in the South that had like a crawfish boil to like let people know, hey, come eat this. Also go home and do a speed test. And I think that's going to be a huge part. And getting the more people we can get to do it, the better. And that's going to take a lot of community outreach.
I had definitely pull them out.
Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying crawfish will definitely pull some people.
Oh. I've got the idea on how to make this happen, and I've had the idea for a couple of years. And it's we need to, just like we do a National Physical Fitness Week in this country, we need to do a National Broadband Awareness Week, and we need to talk about it at a national level to let kids in schools understand why broadband's critical and important. What, you know, my 6-year-old, my 7-year-old knows broadband better than most of us on this call right now, because he just lives it and eats it and breathes it, because Dad comes home and talks about it all the time, right? So, and he plays on the Minecraft and he's doing those things, so he knows why it's important and why it's critical, and he talks to his buddies about it. We should continue to educate people on why broadband is important, how it can affect their lives, and how it's a critical infrastructure from 6 years old up to 80 years old, you know, whatever. And then in that broadband awareness week, we should honor a kind of a speed test week, you know, across the country, and let folks just be encouraged and do some public announcements about, let's do some speed tests, let's get some information. Now, your biggest pushback will be providers, right? And I'm a provider now. So the biggest pushback would be providers saying, well, wait a second, that data is not great. It doesn't tell what our network can do, because people might be buying lower speeds, or they may have crummy internal networks, all that kind of stuff. You know what? We're not looking for one-offs. What we're looking for is patterns in the data, right? And I think, you know, when you do something at that magnitude, which we did in the state of Washington, I had over 60,000 speed tests, right? And most of those tests were coming from areas of need. When you have broadband, you're not paying attention, right? So you're not getting a bunch of good tests in the downtown areas. Where you're getting those tests is out there in the boonies, where people are going, how do I tell my story? I got to tell my story, right? So, you know, it's an effective method, and you can navigate the pushback from the provider side just by saying, we're not acting on one-offs. What we're acting on is sample size data that gives us some type of a critical, you know, conversation to have at a local level. So
it seems like there's a real opportunity to create kind of an open source platform that, you know, the community, all communities can contribute to. I mean, we do this with Wikipedia and others, right, that have become staples and backbones of information. Why can't we do this, you know, with broadband and speed testing and you know, and you're taking a lot of different data points into ultimately a platform, but you're exactly right, Russ, you're looking for patterns, right? And then being able then to drill down all the way to the address level is a really, really big deal. But sometimes people have, you know, privacy issues when they think about those kinds of things. But I mean, we can get there. This is not solvable, but I love the idea of broadband week. Kind of,
but you know, in Washington, I had two maps.
We can make it a thing.
I just wanted to take on the privacy argument. I really don't think that's a legitimate argument, Brian, insofar as if we can identify whether a provider is offering service to a particular area, then you know, I mean, that's not saying anything about, you know, John Doe's purchasing of broadband. Now, maybe if John Doe puts himself on a map and says, hey, I live here. Well, anyway, I mean, I don't know if he'd want to put himself and his name on an address. So I guess I just want to, unless there's something else that I'm missing, I don't think that this privacy argument for going address level is one that we should, you know, bend to the carrier's will, which they often use to.
I think you're right.
Hey, but hang on, privacy is not a carrier conversation. There's a lot of people in the serving territory that I serve right now that don't want to be known, don't want to be put on a map.
Well, they don't need to put themselves on a map, but their home is on maps already. It's a I mean, I can do a satellite view of anyone's home. So I'm just trying to find out if Verizon or Comcast or the local electric co-op can serve that particular home once I see it on Google Maps, right?